Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the information session on scholarship opportunities at IHS. I see that some people are still arriving, so we will be starting in a few minutes so everyone can arrive. And then, we will start the presentation from there. So just a few minutes of delay so everyone can arrive to the presentation. Okay, everyone, I see that most people have already arrived, so we will get started with the presentation. First and foremost, welcome to today's webinar session. My name is Katice Kish, and I'm a Marketing and Communications Officer at IHS. And before we start with the introduction of my colleagues Laurel and Johnson, we will have a word cloud popping up where you can also leave the name of the country that you're from, your nationality, so we can also get to know you a bit better. And then we will go through the new master program that we offer and scholarship options as well, and end the session with tips and tricks from Johnson, who you will get to know in a few seconds. If you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to leave your questions in the Q&A, and we will circle back at the end to answer the questions. So I will give the floor to my colleagues, Laurel and Johnson, to introduce themselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Laurel. I'm the admissions officer at IHS. And so I will be talking about admissions and World Bank.
Hi, everyone. I'm Johnson Anglama. I'm a student of the Master of Science of Urban Management and Development. I am from Uganda. I'm also the student representative for the track of Urban Housing and Land Justice. Happy to see you. Happy to get questions from you. Thank you.
Very nice. So we can quickly go through what we're going to cover today. So first, I will talk a bit about IHS and what we do, and also our master program in urban management and development that you can apply for. Then Laura will cover the admission and application requirements for the program. Then we will go through the global and local scholarships with special attention to the World Bank scholarship that I think a lot of you are interested in. So my colleague Laura will walk you through the application for that. And then we will end the session with Johnson's tips for enhancing your application, and then end with the Q&A. So if you have any questions, as I said, just leave them in the chat and we will answer them at the end. So let's see a bit about IHS. So IHS is situated in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, and we have been part of the Erasmus University Rotterdam since 2000. IHS is it stands for Institute for Housing and Urban Development Studies, and we are an international research institute specialized in urban topics. We offer education, research, and advisory services. So we offer the one-year master program that I will introduce in the next few slides, but we also collaborate with other faculties of the Erasmus University Rotterdam to provide other master programs in urban governance, societal transitions, for example, or rebuilding post-industrial cities. But we also offer research and advisory services, which are interlinked with our education. So professors that will teach you, they are not only your professors, but they are also researchers themselves. So they conduct urban research outside of teaching, and also work in consultancy. So we sometimes work on projects with government or municipalities or different international organizations, such as the GIZ from Germany, for example, or UN Habitat. And all of the insights from these two other pillars, as we call them, the research and advisory, they fundamentally feed back to our education offerings. So you will actually get to know the research that our professors do through case studies and readings as part of your master's program. So now a bit more about our master's in urban management and development. This is a 12-month intensive English taught program designed for graduates or already urban professionals who want to go back or get out to the field of urban development. And you can gain stronger practical skills. This is a postmaster degree. That means that we don't just limit our students to fresh out of bachelor program students, but also it's completely fine if you already have a master's program. One of the key features of this program is the flexibility that it offers. So starting from next year, we will have 2 specializations that you can choose from. I will also introduce them in the next slides. And within these specializations, you can choose specific focal points that you want to dig deeper in. I will also cover that part. So basically, you can tailor your studies to exactly how you want to learn and what your career aspirations are, or what are the topics that really interest you. As I mentioned, we are part of Erasmus University Rotterdam, so you will get your degree from a top 6% university, as Erasmus is currently the 107th in the Times Higher Education ranking. So you will be part of a very high quality program. And we have a very international environment at IHS that I think also Johnson can talk about later. The current batch is 62 students, and we have students from 35 different nationalities and many different disciplines as education background. So you will definitely have the experience to also learn from each other, not just from the professors that will teach you throughout the year. So it's a great peer learning experience as well. And you will also gain not just theoretical knowledge, but also practical skills, such as data analysis, negotiation, policy development, and then finally, as your thesis, applied research. And these skills are very sought after in the job market right now, both in public, private, or international sectors. And we also really focus on impactful education. So the knowledge that you receive in this one-year program, you can really go back to your home country and make a real impact in your community after gaining the knowledge at IHS. Now, a bit more in detail how the year looks like. So we always start in the 1st of September with our core period, or block 1. These are the courses for the first block. As you can see, you will receive fundamental knowledge in contemporary urban studies, for example, urban complexity, different methods, qualitative and quantitative, that you can then implement in your thesis. And from next year onwards, we will also have so-called method courses. There will be 4 that you can choose from to learn different methods. These include policy impact evaluation, if you want to learn more about evidence-based policymaking. We also have machine learning for urban analytics. This is for people who really want to work with data-driven approaches or predicative models. We also have a method course called comparative urban research that through the course, you will analyze different cities and regions around the world and see patterns between these cities or regions. And last and not least, we have the participatory research methods. That is for students who want to engage communities in co-creation and stakeholder engagement. So all these courses are electives. You can choose one of these method courses, as we call them. And on top of this, in the first block, you will also have a research design course that will help you later on for your thesis, and an urban resilience city strategy workshop that is a 2-day workshop where you really put all your theoretical knowledge into practice and come up with a strategy for a city. This is roughly until December, and in the new year, we have actually just started with the specialization period, as we call it, where you only have courses within your specialization. So the first block is for both of the specializations. It's the whole group together. But from the second block onwards, it is only going to be your specialization. And there's also an elective on GIS methods that is running roughly until the end of March. So from April, you will start the final block, which is the thesis period. And that's when you have to also submit your research proposal and then start on your thesis once your research proposal is accepted. So currently we are in the second block, and Johnson, I'm sure, will be happy to explain more about his current courses and what is he up to, if you're interested. Then let's dive into the 2 specializations. So the first one is urban environment and climate change. This specialization explores how cities can transition toward more sustainable and climate resilience futures. It looks at different concepts from climate mitigation and adaptation to nature-based solutions and environmental governance. You will also examine in this course how different risks such as heat stress or flooding or poor air quality affect urban areas and how you can design integrated responses to this. You will also visit climate change resilience projects in the Netherlands during the specialization period and really apply analytical tools and practical approaches such as the GIS-based assessment or climate risk modeling. So then at the end, you can really develop environmental strategies for making cities more sustainable. As I mentioned, you will have the opportunity to choose from some focal points. So these are examples of the topics that you can later dive more into, such as water and urban society, nature-based solutions, circular economy, and climate change governance. So this is one of our specializations, and the other one is the urban socio-spatial transformations. This specialization explores how social, economic, and technological forces shape cities and the lives of urban residents. As part of this program, you will look at urban inequalities from multiple dimensions such as race, gender, or class, and looking at it also from the urban justice perspective. You will learn to evaluate the impact of digitalization and smart technologies on urban life, such as AI, using AI for traffic flows, and so on. And you will also learn to critically examine policies and governance approaches in terms of housing, land, and urban development. So at the end, you will be able to apply tools and frameworks to design more inclusive cities. If you're interested about this program more in depth, you can always scan the QR code that you can see on the right. Same for the previous specialization. Feel free to just scan the QR code and you can learn more about the curriculum in depth. Some focal point examples for this specialization. So in the urban socio-spatial transformations specialization, you can learn more about digital cities and transformations, as I said, look at urban inequality, or also learn more about housing and land policy approaches. And I would also like to ask you to answer to an upcoming poll about which master track or specialization you would be interested to apply for. There should be a poll coming up now. And on this slide, I just want to quickly recap the program that I just explained. So as I said, it is a 12-month program starting from September 2026 to August 2027. The tuition fee is 19,750 euros for the whole year. An echo. Could you mute yourself? Thank you. And the upcoming deadlines are as follows. We have an early bird deadline that is 15 April. So if you apply before this deadline and pay the fees before 15 May, you get a 2,000 tuition fee waiver, or the other regular deadlines are 1st of June and 1st of July. And I will give the floor to my colleague Laurel to explain the admission requirements.
Yes, thank you, Katica. Yeah, so we're going to discuss the admission requirements for the UMD program. Yeah, so we have some admission requirements. And the first, of course, is very important that you have a relevant bachelor's degree from a recognized university. And it should be related to the UMD program. So under the 2 tracks that we have on our website, we have listed the relevant backgrounds. So you can check like if yours is relevant, but yeah, it might be possible that yours is not listed, but it's still relevant. So if that's the case, you can email the admissions office and we can like advise you what to do. Yeah, so a second admission requirement is an academic performance. So we require at least a 2nd class lower. That's a B or equivalent. And you can check this in the transcripts of your bachelor's degree. Yeah, and if you're also not sure about this, you can also contact our admissions office. Then we have working experience. So working experience is not mandatory, but it's an asset. Because Katica said our UMD program is postgraduate. So yeah, you can already have some like relevant working experience. That's great, but it's not mandatory. But I would say it's especially relevant if you, for instance, do not have a relevant bachelor's degree. Then working experience is definitely like an asset. Yeah, so my colleague Katica also said that we have a lot of different students in the classroom from many different backgrounds. So that's why we say that it's good that you're open and like able to interact with with students from many different backgrounds. And then our last admission requirement is the English language. Yeah, so you should have a sufficient command of English. And we just go into that the next slide a bit more because we've recently changed our English language requirements. And so, as you know, we're part of the Erasmus University. So that means that we need to adhere to their requirements. So that's why since this year, we had to change our English language test exemption requirements. And because you might know that we had a very extensive list of countries that were exempted from taking an English test. But unfortunately now we have a new requirement. So you don't have to take the English test if you are from or have obtained your bachelor's degree from the countries that are on the slide. So Australia, Canada, Ireland, New Zealand, South Africa, UK, and USA. Yeah, so that's quite a shorter list than we had before. And so there's also some other test exemptions, and that's if you have obtained your bachelor's degree from a university in the Netherlands, or you have obtained a pre-university education, which is VWO in the Netherlands, or if you have obtained a diploma of the international, I cannot pronounce this word, I think baccalaureate, yeah. Yeah, so only under these conditions, you don't have to take the test. So if you do not meet these requirements, then yeah, you need to take a test. And before we only accepted IELTS and TOEFL, but now we have more tests that we accept, for instance, Cambridge and some other more tests. So you can check on our website under the admission requirements English, and there we have a table overview with like the required scores for these tests. And I also want to mention for this part, so if you apply and you do not have the English test yet, then you get a conditional admission letter. So not the unconditional, but the conditional one. And usually for the scholarships that we have, so TSH and World Bank, my colleague is going to explain that later as well. Usually you had to submit an unconditional letter, but because of this new English requirement, we had adjusted that. So now you can also submit a World Bank or TSH application with a conditional admission letter. Yeah. Okay. Yes, so about the upcoming deadlines, we have, so with the UMD, we work in like several rounds. And we're currently in round 2. So round 1 and 2 were for the scholarship dependent candidates. And so this round, it will close on the 22nd of February. Yes, so make sure to submit your application before that to have your outcome on time. And then we also have early bird discount. If you want to benefit from that, you need to submit your application in the 3rd round. So that's before 15 April. And then we have round 4 and 5. Yeah, and the 5th round is only for EU applicants who don't need a visa. So they can submit their application a bit later than those who need a visa.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Thank
so
you
we
for
have
explaining.
a poll. Yes. Okay. Yeah, we have a poll. We would like to know if you have already applied for the UMD program. You can fill it out.
Yes. Thank you for explaining the admission and application, Laura. I will take it from here, starting the list of scholarships that we work with. And the first one I want to highlight is the IHS-TSH Changemaker scholarship that we only started as of this year. And this is in partnership with TSH Talent Foundation to help remove structural barriers for excellent students from all over the world. So this is a global scholarship, which is very lucky. And we have 3 scholarships to be awarded this year, and they cover the full tuition fees and it also a 1 year of housing in the Rotterdam Social Hub residence that is maintained by TSH Talent Foundation. So that's why we were very happy to partner with them. So the 3 students who get this scholarship, they do have 1 year free housing within Rotterdam, which is a very lucky thing in the Netherlands nowadays. The only important notice is that awardees are responsible for the refundable living deposit of 1,150 euros per month. So this is not something that is for IHS, but it is the sum that you will use throughout your stay to sustain yourself, such as groceries and monthly expenses. So this is the only thing that the awardees have to finance themselves. A bit about the eligibility criteria. So we require non-conditional admission to one of the specializations of our master's program. Also strong English proficiency to fully participate in the program, and demonstrated community involvement and commitment to engage within the Changemaker alumni network. And as also Laura already mentioned, we do accept, in this case with the English requirement, a conditional admission if the only condition that you did not meet is the English test. So that is something that can be done later if you receive the scholarship or at a later date around March. That's something that we adjusted in the application. Also, please make sure that you meet the Changemaker eligibility criteria and submit your application to us by 22 February. The application for the scholarship includes a motivational letter summarizing your motivation and goal to study at IHS, and also a letter of intent where you explain how you're planning on covering the rest of the fees, which is the living deposit that I explained in the previous slide. The selection will be announced mid-March, and if you're awarded, then the transfer of the living deposit should arrive by the end of March. So ideally, this could be a very quick procedure for the applicants, and you should know the final outcome by mid-March. Then we also have some other scholarships that are from IHS. We have the annual scholarship that is a partial scholarship of 5,000 euros that is awarded to one student based on academic excellence. The application deadline for this is 26 April. And we also have the early bird tuition fee waiver that I already mentioned with the 15 of May payment deadline. If you pay your fees before that, then this 2,000 waiver automatically applies to your payment, and you don't have to apply for this independently. Then we also have some country-specific scholarships. These are mostly partners that we work together with. One of them is CoFuturo for our Colombian applicants, where the application will be opening soon, and it is a full scholarship, even though it is a loan scholarship. So that's a very important aspect that depending on the conditions of you, you will have to pay back certain percentage of this loan. Then we also have the Jean Monnet scholarship for Turkish candidates. Unfortunately, the deadline for this has already passed in the fall, but it's also important to keep it in mind if you want to join us next year. The application for this is usually open in the early fall, around September to November. And we also work with LPDP, which is for Indonesian applicants, and the application deadline for that is end of February, around our own application deadline. So if you do want to apply to LPDP, please make sure to apply to us first so we can give you an admission letter if you meet the requirements. And last but not least, we also have a scholarship for Mexican students. The exact application deadline is still to be confirmed, but it will be probably February of this year. And this is also a loan scholarship similar to the one for Colombian students. If your country was not here, but you still want to explore more, we have the QR code on the right that you can scan to see more country-specific scholarships, but these were the ones that we wanted to highlight this time. And I will give the floor to Laurel to explain the World Bank Scholarship in a bit more detail.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so the World Bank Scholarship. So the World Bank Scholarship, yeah, it's meant for professionals who apply for a master degree within the field of development. Yeah, so of course that's related to our master UMD, so that's why you can apply. The World Bank Scholarship is like almost fully funded, so it covers the tuition fee, your flight tickets, and the health insurance. And basically, so if you are awarded the World Bank, you will receive it on a monthly basis when you are here, like when you start your studies in the master program. Yeah, and so the World Bank Scholarship, it's yeah, the intention is basically that you do the UMD and then program, and then you go back to your home country to yeah, contribute and like apply the things you've learned in your career. Yeah. Yeah, so that's World Bank about the scholarship in general. And then, so how to know if you're eligible for the scholarship? Yeah, so first of all, of course, you should be a national of a World Bank member developing country. On the next slide, we have like a list and a QR code that leads you to the list, so you can check if you are from a World Bank developing country. Yeah, so important that you should not hold a dual citizenship with a developed country, because for the World Bank, it's really important that you are from a developing country. So if you have like two, like, yeah, dual citizenship with a developed country, then unfortunately you're not eligible. So that's good to check before. Yeah, so for this, it's also important that your bachelor's degree was obtained at least 3 years before the application deadline. And I think the application deadline is somewhere in May. So it means 3 years before means that you should have finished your bachelor's degree like before May 2023. So that's also good to keep in mind. Yeah, be of sound health. That's for yourself to establish. And yeah, so you should be employed in a development-related work job in a paid full-time position. So yeah, on the website of World Bank, you can also see the like kind of the careers that are not eligible. Yeah, so that's good to check as well. And then we have another thing, have an unconditional offer, but we already mentioned that for this time, because of the English language new requirements, you can apply with a conditional one if you're only missing the English tests. Yeah. Yeah, so here on the slide we have the QR code to the eligible countries for the World Bank. Yeah, it's also on our website of the World Bank. There's also a link to the World Bank page for this, so you can check if you are from eligible country. Okay, so how to apply? Yeah, so first you check if you're eligible. That's very important. And you should apply for our UMD program by the 22nd of February, so that there's enough time to receive your admission outcome. And so then IHS will like inform you of the next steps and like an eligibility check that you will need to complete. And then after you filled that out, there is a shortlist. So there will be a shortlist of candidates. And those candidates will receive further instructions from the admissions office. And then you can submit your application to the World Bank Scholarship. And the deadline for that is the 22nd of May, 2026. Thank you.
Yes. Johnson, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you, Katika and Laura. So basically, Laura has mentioned some of the things that you need for the World Bank Scholarship. So I will start with the main 4 factors that you need to look into when you're planning to apply for the World Bank Scholarship. The World Bank Scholarship, they look at 4 factors. The first one is quality of professional experience that is given 30%. I'll explain this after mentioning them. And then we have the quality of the professional recommendations, which is also given 30%. And then we have the quality of commitment to your home country, the way Laura was saying that you commit coming back to your country, which is also given 30%. And then we have the quality of education background, which is given 10%. So when you add all these percentages, you come up with 100%. So what do they mean by the quality of professional experience? Because this is given 30%. So the quality of the professional experience, as Laura said, they need someone who has 3 years experience. So, and how do you show the quality of professional experience? The first thing is that you need to make a good CV when you're applying for this scholarship. And the CV that you make should have quantifiable indicators. For example, if you're saying that you helped people in your country to do land registration, you should mention how many people did you help to do land registration and what were the benefits of doing land registration. For example, you can say, I helped around 10 register their land, and this increased their security of tenure, which improved their standards of living by these female-headed households accessing credit. So you need to have a CV which has indicators that can be quantified by the World Bank. You don't just need to be generic that you helped people to register their pieces of land, you helped in planning urban centers. So you need to mention how many urban centers that you helped to plan. And then how to show your professional experience. One of the first questions that the World Bank will explain, will ask you, what is your most significant professional achievement and the reasons for viewing it as your professional achievement. So such a question, as I said, you need to look at the indicators. You don't need to be generic that you help to plan, for example, the city of Rotterdam. They want to know, how did you plan the city of Rotterdam? What indicators did you look at? So that is how you express your level of professional experience. And then when they took the second criteria that the World Bank looks at, they look at the quality of the professional recommendations. Here, do not choose the academic referees like your professors of the university where you studied from. They are looking at people who have supervised you at work. They have seen you doing accomplishments. They have seen you doing certain tasks. So you need to have 2 professional recommendations from people who have observed you carrying out the development related fields. So these are the people that you talk to. Of course, you give them your CV and they can look at your CV and see how they can recommend you, because the World Bank uses that as a criteria to know that this person has been involved in the different aspects of their home country. So these supervisors should be able to testify that, yeah, Johnson was involved in land registration, Johnson was involved in the project of food security, and around 500 families were improved in their food livelihood project. So like we need to emphasize on the quantification. And then so we have the third criteria that the World Bank uses, which is 30% also. They look at the quality of commitment to your home country. So the quality of commitment to your home country, they are looking at, after studying the Master of Science of Urban Management and Development at IHS, what are you going to positively impact your home country? So the first thing that you need to look at the program of the UMD, how Katika was talking about it, like the urban resilience strategy, the urban housing policies. So you now need to connect the program of UMD to the housing problems of your country. For example, you can say, my country has the housing problem. There are so many people who are homeless. There are so many people who are in informal settlements. But when I get this program to do a Master of Science in Urban Management at IHS, IHS is good in having urban renewal strategies. They are going to teach me the urban housing policies. For example, in our case of urban housing, we have just done the 5 A's of urban housing. You're looking at affordability of housing, you're looking at adaptability, you're looking at accessibility. So the World Bank wants to know, if you study the urban management and development program, what new things are you going to do for your country? And that is given 30%. So you need to connect the aspirations that you have, the problems you have in your country, and then you look at the UMD program. What modules does the UMD program offer? And then you come up with a statement. And then you can also say, after doing the UMD program, I'm going to strengthen the land systems of my country, improve the land governance structures of my country. So that's what World Bank means by the quality of commitment to your home country. And then finally, you can also say, when I do the program of UMD, I'll go back to my country. I also teach other urban professionals. For example, you have different professions in your country. So when you get this knowledge from the UMD program, you'll go back to your home country, organize workshops, organize seminars, and then you share the knowledge that you've got from the UMD so that you can have different people also impacting the urban cities in your home country from the knowledge that you will get from the UMD program. So they are trying to look at the dissemination of the information, of the knowledge that you're going to get from the UMD program. And then the World Bank also sometimes they also ask you, like, what would you be? How do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years? So they are trying to look at, after doing the UMD, how is the UMD program going to shape your future? How is it going to shape the future of your country in the next 5 years to 10 years? So here you need to bring in the aspect of saying, like, after doing this UMD program, you're going to come up with eco-friendly policies in the next 5 years for your country. You're going to come up with the smart city strategies for your country. You're going to come up with urban resilience policies, urban resilience strategies, climate adaptation for your country. So they are trying to look at the leadership skills that you will gain after doing the UMD program. So you need to picture yourself in the next 5 to 10 years after doing the UMD program. And then another question, they also ask you that, why do you think, like, at this particular moment, why the UMD program? What is so good about the UMD program? Yes, you've applied for it, so what? So you need to know the gaps that you have. For example, you've done a bachelor's of architecture, and then you now need to tell the World Bank that, yes, I have done the bachelor's of architecture, but at the moment, I do not have the different urban management development strategies. So when you do the UMD program, then you have the Bachelor's of Architecture. This UMD program is going to improve your skills of managing the urban cities properly, because here they are just trying to look at the gaps that you have in the knowledge of managing the cities. So you need to look at your current bachelor's degree. For example, you could have a bachelor's in economics, and then that means you need to get knowledge on how to manage the cities basing on your bachelor's. And then the next question, they always look at also the commitments that you're going to have to your country. So here they are trying to also mention about, as I mentioned earlier, you're just kind of coming up with a problem statement that the current problems in my country are these. But if you get the UMD program, this is how you're going to improve your country. And then, as Laura said, there are 4 documents that you submit to the World Bank. And the first document is the unconditional letter of admission from the IHS. That one is clear. And then you need to also work on your CV. As I said, when you work on your CV, you need to put there the indicators. You should not be generic. You say, as a land surveyor, for example, I'm a land surveyor. I help to register titles for communities in my country or in my district. You need to put like indicators. For example, you say, I surveyed 100 pieces of land and this is how it helped people for example, if you're saying you came up with the land use development plans, you need to quantify that you came up with the land use plans for maybe 10 trading centers, 10 town councils, something like that. So they are looking at a CV that has indicators which can be quantified so that they can relate with your professional work experience. And then the third item that you need to submit also during your application. You need to submit all your diplomas. You don't submit the transcripts, you only submit the certificates. For example, if you have a bachelor's and a master's, so you scan your master's and the bachelor's certificates and you put them together. And then lastly, you also, as Laura said, they want somebody who is in a development-related field. So you need to have the proof of employment from your current employer and your past employment documents. So during the application time, when you're submitting the documents, you need to have these documents. Like, for example, you need to have the current state of employment, because the World Bank wants somebody who is working in a development field so that you come back and support your country. So you need to have past employment letters and also a letter of the current employment. And then the last thing is that you need to take your time, because the World Bank, they advertise in March and then the deadline is in May. So don't hurry to put in the application. Take your time, because these are difficult questions. They need you to combine the indicators, combine the CV. So you don't need to hurry and to submit your application. So when the IHS sends you the link to the World Bank, what you do, even the World Bank advises you, you copy those questions, put them in the Word document, and then start answering them, because they have a word limit, because most of the questions are around 300 words. And then, so you need to take your time. You don't need to hurry with answering the questions. So you can take the whole of April trying to answer those questions, and then probably you can submit the application in the second week of May. And then finally, you need to choose your professional recommenders carefully. As I said, do not choose your university professors to recommend you for the World Bank scholarship. They need professional referees, people who can testify about your professional accomplishments that you had during work, which can be quantified. So you need to talk to them because the World Bank sends them emails directly without your knowledge. So you need to share with them, tell them, for example, Katika, I'm applying for the World Bank scholarship. Please, I'm going to put your name as my professional referee. And then you need to share with them your CV, because what you put in your CV, what your professional recommenders also write, and what you also write as a professional accomplishments, and then your commitment to your home country should be the same information. So that's what I can share with you. Back to you, Katika. I'm there for any questions. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Johnson, for this very detailed speech. I hope everyone was taking notes, because these were very, very useful insights. So I hope we'll see a lot of great applications for the World Bank in the next few months. Just very quickly before we go to the question and answer part of the event, here is a quick overview of the scholarships that we talked about. You can scan the QR code and it goes to our website. Or if you have any questions regarding scholarships, please email us at courseinquiries@ihs.nl. We'll be happy to help you with any questions. And if you're interested in our student lives and any happenings at IHS, you can always follow us on social media. And let's go to the Q&A session. Yes. I will check the Q&A box. I see that a lot of questions have already been answered. I also see a few hands. Maybe we can start with the hands. Ban, do you have a question you would like to ask? Yes,
Yeah,
can we hear you?
Yeah, thank you. Are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Hello. Yes, we can hear you.
Hello? Yeah,
Can
thank
you?
you.
Yeah.
I'm from Ethiopia. I have two questions that will be
Yes.
forwarded to. Yes, are you
Yes.
hearing me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah, I have two questions. First, I want to say thank you for creating these platforms for discussions and the clarifications of your program, as well as the opportunity of scholarship.
Yes.
So my question is regarding to admission requirement. Yeah, the first requirement here is sufficient command of English. That's some country are listed out that will be exempted from English language proficiency. I know, and I'm working at the university in Ethiopia, which is a public university, and a little bit the issue of language proficiency may be challenging for having such kind of remote and less developed country. So,
Yes.
is there any room to be exempt from the proficiency? Just in Ethiopia, the curriculum from the high school up to the university level that's designed by it's media of instruction is English. So
Yes.
a little bit there may be somewhat cop up to be is there any room regarding to this context with the first questions, and the other is are you hearing me? Sorry.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. The second question is forwarded to Jensen, and
Yes.
you more clarify about the scholarships of World Bank, which is very interesting. Since I'm from Ethiopia, which is a less developed country, and my question here is, Johnson, what was your previous experience? So I'm a university lecturer. Is there any opportunity? So my engagement is in education, and my experience is on education. So I have a master's of urban development and management and a bachelor degree of geography and environmental study. So what will be your advice regarding to this? So this the criteria can be fitted within this scholarship parameter. Thank you. These are all my questions.
Yes, I
Thank
think
you.
Laurel can answer the English requirement, and Johnson, you can tell him a bit more about your professional background.
Yes, so about the English, yeah, so I like understand all your concerns because it's a bit of a pity indeed that we had to change the English language because yeah, many of you are of course from a country where you speak English. So unfortunately, yeah, to answer your question for the exemption, yeah, unfortunately we cannot make an exemption anymore because and this also has like in part to do with the visa requirements because these stricter English requirements also come from the current governmental situation, political situation that we're in the Netherlands, and so the IND, which is the institute that applies for students' visa, they have become stricter, and I explained in the beginning that we're part of the Erasmus University, and so the Erasmus University, they apply for your visa, so on IHS behalf, so that's why we need to basically adhere to these new English requirements, and yeah, that's why unfortunately we cannot make an exemption. So that's why if you do not meet the current, the new English language criteria, you need to take a test, yeah, to receive an unconditional admission letter.
Yes, I think I still see some hands. I feel like we have time for one more question, and the rest, if you have a question, please write it in the chat. So while the other people are answering the question, we can answer you in the chat. So you get your answer before the event ends. So I see still one question from Abdi Mahad, and the rest, if your hand is up, please write your questions in the chat, and I will type the answer. So Abdi Mahad, if you can unmute yourself, please ask your question, and the rest in the chat. Thank you.
Yes, and good evening or good afternoon, everyone. And I would like to ask you, first I wanted to thank for your presentation and for your explanation and for your the guidelines explanation. And second, and I wanted to say, and can able to apply the East African people and students, for example, like me, because I live in Somalia. My name is Abdullah. So can I suitable that to apply that in the scholarship for the World Bank and other institutions? And thank you over to you, my sons.
Thank you for the question. Sorry, I didn't hear it. So maybe you said something about your eligibility for the World Bank depending on the country that you come from. Yeah, so basically you can just check if you are from an eligible country, and yeah, so you should be a national of that country and currently working and living in there. So yeah, not somewhere else, but also in the eligible country. Yeah, I hope it answers your question.
Yes. Looking at the time, we have 5 minutes. So I did see one more question in the chat. For you, Rizka, unfortunately, yeah, Indonesia is not eligible anymore for the World Bank. If there's any other questions from people, please write them in the chat because we will have to wrap up. But altogether, I would like to thank everyone for your attention. Johnson, special thanks for you for explaining everything so detailed, and I think it was very useful for all the attendees who would like to apply for the World Bank. And regarding the other scholarships, if you have any questions, we're also happy to guide you through those scholarship applications, even though we work less closely with the rest of the scholarship providers. But we're always happy to help you along the way. And we really hope to see you at IHS next year. I do see one more question that I would like to ask, that I would like to answer from the TSH. Unfortunately, the living cost deposit has to be paid before the summer. So that's the latest that we can do. End of March, the living deposit has to be transferred. So that's not something that we can extend for very long. And as far as I know, China is not on the list for the World Bank for you, Diana. And yeah, I think we covered most of the questions. So yeah, I want to thank you for your attention again, and hope to see you at IHS in the fall. And if you do have any other questions and we didn't get to answer, it flew under the radar, just send us an email at courseinquiries@ihs.nl, and we'll be happy to answer you in an even longer format than now. So yeah, thank you for your attention and hope to see you. Have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.